everybody, I'm Katie. Welcome back to my kitchen. And before I start with my recipe for today's recipe, I want to say thank you to everybody in Russia who's having lessons with my channel and they're learning English. And a special thank you and a hi to the teacher who recommended my channel. Okay, so let's get started with our recipe. Today we are making meatloaf, my version, and for a side dish we're making stuffed mushrooms. So what do you say? Let's start painting. Like always, of course, you're going to preheat your oven at 350 Fahrenheit, 180 Celsius, and our meatloaf is going to be roasting for about an hour and 20 minutes. Okay, let's look at our ingredients for the meatloaf. Of course, the first thing that we need is a beautiful ground beef. Just a little bit of fat for more taste. Okay, I want some carrots and onion. I've pureed them in my blender. Of course, olive oil, a little bit of garlic. I have some peppers, sweet red peppers here. They're horned peppers. Soaked bread, stale soaked bread. Fresh parsley. We're going to use half of this in our mushrooms. Pepper and salt. And here I have some frozen celery, which is from my garden, but I had a lot of it this year, so I put it in my Ziploc bag, and now I have it for the recipe. Dry oregano, some paprika, and this is kefalotiri. We've made a recipe with this. If you cannot find it, you can use Parmigiano Reggiano. I have some stale bread here for 5 days that I put in my blender, and I made it nice and finely here for the recipe. And of course, we're going to need mushrooms. Okay, these are portobello. So guys, what do you say? Let's start making our meatloaf. Okay, I'm going to start pulling this apart a little. And like I said, I want it to have a little bit of fat. I don't want a dry meat. Okay, you can make this meatloaf also with chicken. You can make it with turkey. You can make it with pork. Whatever rocks your boat. Okay, and to this, we're adding in our carrots and the onion. Oops, this one forgot to be diced. Like that. And now we're putting in our stale bread. It should be stale bread, Italian bread or Greek bread. Do not buy the bread that we make sandwiches with. It's going to become like mud. We want a nice home bread, a bakery bread. Okay? And now I'm going to put in my parsley. Okay, I just need half of this parsley because the other half, like I said, I washed it very well. We're going to put it in our mushrooms. So I'm taking half and I'm going to just chop it. I want it to be finely chopped. If you're using a cutting board, always be very careful of your fingers, especially if you have a very sharp knife like mine. Always know that if your knife is very sharp, you have less of a chance to get cut. If it's dull, you have more of the chance to get cut. Okay, just a little bit more. We want to see the parsley. We don't want it to disappear. You should always see the ingredients that you're using in your recipe. If you're going to make mud out of everything and everything's going to have the same taste, well, it's really not worth it. Okay, that's done. And we're just going to put that in. And now we're going to put in our sweet peppers. These are slightly boiled, okay, they're not fresh. They're going to give it a really, really sweet taste. And it's going to give it a little zing to it. I don't use eggs in my meatloaf. My kids never eat them. And when I was a child, I never ate mine either. I don't like a hard-boiled egg in my meatloaf. It looks pretty, of course, and if you like it, put it in. If you don't like it, don't put it in. Okay, that's it. And let's do the last one. These are really beautiful, nice and sweet. We'll make some in the summer because they're dilled also. And we're just going to put that in. Look at all these spring colors. Beautiful. And now I'm going to put in my garlic with my microplane. Just grate it like that. I'm using 2 cloves of garlic here. I don't want it very strong, but I want the flavor. Okay, the secret to a beautiful, juicy meatloaf is that you have to knead it really well for all your ingredients to combine. Okay, and if you really want it flavorful, you should always do it grill it an hour before you put it in the oven. You should put it in the refrigerator before you put it in the oven for about half an hour, 45 minutes, for all the ingredients and the flavors to come out. Like that. All I'm doing is opening my hand and just making a fist. Opening my hand and making a fist like that. And make sure your bread is stale. If your bread's not stale, this recipe is not going to work for you. Okay, now we're going to put in our celery. Of course, you can use fresh celery, the American kind, the Greek, the Italian, whatever you like, but this is much more stronger. It has a beautiful, strong taste. And now we're putting in our salt, like that, and our pepper. And we're going to continue to work it. It's almost done. And like I said, if you want it to be juicy, crispy on the outside and juicy, so it's not a hard meatball, gigantic meatball, your bread should hold a little bit of water. That is the secret to a perfect meatloaf. Okay, now we're going to get it out of here, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Okay, we need parchment paper, and we're going to cook this meatloaf in a ceramic pan. It's the best thing for roasting meat. It's about the size of my pan, and now what I'm going to do, I'm sure you've all made meatloaf. It's the easiest thing ever. I'm just going to take a portion, put it here, and again, this is a serving for about 7 people, I should say. And this is what I'm doing. I'm making it into a loaf of bread. Don't flatten it out. I want a high loaf, like that. And I'm using the parchment paper so it can be really nice and juicy. I want a nice brown color on the outside, so it can hold its shape. And I'm not going to be worried about it, that it's going to get burnt or anything. Let me get this out of the way. That's it. And all I'm going to do is I'm making it into a package, like this. This way, the air is going to go through it, the hot air, but it's not going to get burned. I'm taking my pan, picking it up, and putting it in. If it doesn't fit, it's so forgivable. You just have to push it a little, like that. And that's it. Okay, now I'm gonna add here about half a glass of water. Just half a glass, I can help it steam. Don't fill up your pans with water. If you do it my way, you're gonna have a perfect meatloaf without being scared that it was burned on the outside and raw on the inside. And like I said before, if you want to use eggs, it's perfectly fine. Okay, we're gonna put this baby in again, and it's gonna be cooking for about an hour and 20 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna put it in so we can start with our second recipe. Okay guys, my meatloaf has been roasting for about half an hour. Once the hour has finished and we have 20 minutes left, we're gonna take it out of the oven and we're gonna release it from the parchment paper so it can get nice and golden brown, like the cameraman hates. Okay, let's get started with our mushrooms. This is what we're going to do. You're going to line your baking dish with parchment paper. Again, this is going to give it a great roast. And what I'm doing is taking, after I've washed them very well and they have no water, okay? And I'm taking a bowl, and all I'm going to do, I'm releasing the stem from the top of the mushroom. And I'm just placing it there. I'm not throwing this away because we're going to stuff it with the insides. Again, I'm taking out the stem, putting it in. Taking out the stem. It's really easy. You don't even need a knife to do it. Just a little bit of pressure, like that. Pulling out the stem. Okay, I've cleaned my mushrooms beautifully, and before we do anything else, so you don't forget, I'm just taking a little bit of olive oil so I can give it a rich flavor on the outside, not on the inside, because we are going to put olive oil in our stuffing, and I'm just brushing them through like that. Okay, I've taken all my stems out, and now I want to show you, because we're going to stuff these, and there's not going to be a lot of room for the stuffing. So what I'm going to do, I'm taking a little spoon, and I'm just spooning the outsides like that. The edges, the rim actually, not the edges, the rim of the mushroom, so I can fit in my stuffing. Okay, I'm going to finish with the rest, and we're going to come back so we can start making our first thing that we're putting in our bowl here, ceramic bowl, is the bread. I'm going to put half of it in. I always make more than I need, just to be sure. Okay, like that, I think it's about enough. And to this, I'm going to grate my cheese. This is a peppery, really spicy cheese. And like I said, if you cannot find kefalotiri, you can use Parmigiano Reggiano. It just has to be a spicy, hard cheese. It's not supposed to be Gouda, because all the ingredients are going to stick together. We're going to put enough in. It gives it a beautiful flavor, great texture, and a spice to it. Okay, I think that's enough. And now I'm putting in my oregano, dry oregano. My paprika. This is hot paprika. You can use sweet also. Like that. And now my garlic. I have 2 cloves of garlic. If you love garlic, you can put 3, 4 a head of garlic. As long as you don't have to go to work the next day. Okay. And the other one. And now we're going to start dicing our stems, slicing, because it's going to go into the stuffing. Like that. Okay. And before we forget, of course, salt. Not too much because the kefalotiri is salty. Oops. And our pepper. Lots of pepper. Tons of pepper. Okay, put that out of the way. And now, I'm going to start chopping up my stems. Okay. I'm just going to take one, slice it in half, like that. And the other one. And we're going to do that to all of them. I want them nicely chopped, okay? Okay, we're going to finish with the rest and we're going to come back so we can put the rest of the ingredients. Okay, I finished chopping up my stems. This is what I want. Like that. And now we're going to chop up our parsley, putting that in our stuffing mixture. And our parsley. And like I said, I want to know that I have parsley. Parsley loves garlic. It loves cheese. It's a perfect ingredient for this stuffing mixture. Just a little bit more, and we are ready to stuff. Invest in a good knife. It's a great tool for the kitchen. Okay, that's going in. And that's it. Those are the ingredients. I don't think I forgot anything. We're putting the bowl back on here. And I'm just going to lit a little bit of olive oil. And I'm just going to give it a good mix now. Beautiful stuffing. This is a great recipe for Thanksgiving, for holiday, Christmas, you name it. Very easy, not expensive again. Not time consuming at all. Okay, I think we're going to need a little bit of olive oil so it can stick together. That's the idea. Because we have stale bread in here, which was not soaked, okay? The soaked bread went into the meatloaf. I want this bread dry. Okay. And now we are ready to stuff. I'm taking one mushroom and stuffing it. Like that. Our mushrooms are going to be roasting for about 40 to 45 minutes. You'll be able to understand when they're ready because they're going to start smelling. The cheese is going to start smelling together with the garlic. I think so, 40-45 minutes, quarter to an hour, it will be perfect. Okay, that's too big. You can also use ham in here, some bacon, whatever rocks your boat. But because we're having meat, we're having the meatloaf, I don't think it's necessary to overindulge too much. Okay, like that. And once I finished with the stuffing, we're going to grate some more cheese on top, and they're okay. Now we're going to put in our kefalotiri on top, just like that. Be generous. It's absolutely beautiful. You're going to love this recipe. Great for barbecue with some chicken, with some spare ribs. Great appetizer on its own. Okay, that's it. And we're going to put these babies into bake, like I said, for 40-45 minutes until they're beautiful golden brown. And in about 10 minutes, I'm going to take out my meatloaf so I can show you what it looks like at this point. At this point, the hour is up. You see that juice there? That's what we're looking for. Okay, we're just putting the parchment paper on the side. Be careful, it's very hot. My hands are used to being burned. And now we're going to put this in for another 20 to 25 minutes according to your oven. And once it's ready, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Let's get our mushrooms ready. There they are. Beautiful. I wish you can smell them. And now we are going to serve them in our platter. And be very careful, they're very hot. Don't try to eat one right away. Okay, I'm going to wait for them to cool so I can put them on my platter. Okay, switch to my spatula. I think it's much better, faster. Those are the stuffed mushrooms. Beautiful recipe. Okay guys, we're waiting for our meatloaf to come out. And I think we need another 10 minutes and we are ready to serve. Okay guys, our meatloaf is ready to come out. Let's go get it. There it is. Hold on a second. That's our meatloaf. We're going to wait for it to cool, because if you try to cut it at this point, it's just going to fall apart. It's all bubbly inside. And our mushrooms for our side dish. That's our recipe for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward till next time. And of course, always remember, cooking brings people together. Bye.